Thank you for staying with us tonight. Nigeria's electoral landscape is already taking shape ahead of the 2027 general elections as Independent National Electoral Commission INEC unveils key plans and timelines. A lot to talk about tonight as INEC says it will collaborate with anti-graft agencies, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and Independent Corrupt Practices Commission to clamp down on vote buying and other electoral offences. The Commission has also proposed a budget of 873 billion naira to fund the 2027 general elections. On the program tonight is Dr. Mutiu Agboke, INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Osun State. He joins me virtually. And in the studio with me is lawyer, political affairs analyst Tony Daniel, right here in the studio. Good evening to you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me on the program. Mr. Daniel, good evening to you. It's good to see you again in the new year. Thank you very much. Dr. Agboke, are you there? Good evening to you.
Very well, my sister. It's good to see you again.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me start with you, Mr. Daniel. Presidential elections hold February 20, 6th of March 2027 for governorship and state houses of assembly election. 2019-2023, has INEC improved on this cycle in restructuring the timetable?
Yes. There's some improvement practically on the part
a bit or a lot?
On the average, on the aspect of INEC management of elections in Nigeria. The current chairman has started well, at least there was no controversy as regard the publication of the timetable. The time is never enough, but I mean, complying with the provision of both the Electoral Act, which is validly subsisting, that is that of 2022, okay, until the amendment is passed into law, the subsisting Electoral Act of 2022, will be complied with. And in compliance with the relevant provision, I think 2.8, the timetable for next year, 2027 elections has been published. That is commendable. I know that the time will be subject to amendment, further amendment, depending on when the amended Electoral Act of 2027 will be passed by the National Assembly. Okay. We've noticed being carrying among members, talking from both sides of the mouth, members coming out to state that this was what they passed, and I just hope...
We'll come back to that in a moment. But if indeed you say the chairman has started well, what is the single biggest threat to election or electoral integrity in this country today? Is it funding? Is it security? Is it political interference or technology?
It is issues that are a bit... One that is a bit beyond the control of INEC, which is physical activities at the voting unit.
What exactly?
People taking laws into their hands are beyond their control. It is the security agencies that should handle that. The issue of suspicion of or compromise or alleged compromises of election results, which is the issue of integrity. We saw a lot of complaints that the system was manipulated in favor of a particular party, while the parties were trading blames against each other. The masses were left with whether to trust the result that was published or not, and then palpable fear among electorate who are supposed to come out to vote, but they are hearing about what is happening at the polling unit. If all that, well, at the last election, this played out, not to one party, but among all the parties.
All right.
Yes.
Dr. Agboke, thank you for joining us once again. So let me come to you. We have timelines for the 2027 general elections, but you have a bigger assignment on your hands. August 8th is almost here. Osun governorship election. In 3 weeks or 4 weeks, March 11, if nothing changes, campaigns will start. So can you confidently say INEC is 100% operationally ready?
Okay, thank you. If you can allow me to add
101 or 111 ready.
Indeed.
Maybe that would have even been better. So on a serious note, INEC is ready.
Okay.
As I speak to you now, we are trying to do duplication of documents that has to do with the publication of the candidate particulars. So by Monday, first thing on Monday morning, we are going to publish the names of those candidates that have uploaded their various EC9 and EC9B forms into our portals. So by that time, parties will see those political parties that have scaled through the orders of nomination or primary candidate, and also the candidates themselves. You will know the parties, you will know the candidates by Monday. Okay. That is one indication for you to know that INEC is ready. Right. Yes, you have people into my timetable to say that campaign will commence, all things being equal, by 11th day of March. Before then, we are going to have a stakeholders. We want to educate all the stakeholders, political parties, and candidates themselves. We want to bring the candidate and political parties together. We have invited one of our former national commissioners to come and educate them on how to conduct themselves during the primary. So 1001 readiness is what we have in Osun State.
I mean, we see this education, so to speak, almost every election cycle. Well, at the end of the day, you still see these politicians misbehaving on elections day. But for you, are there lessons the commission might have taken away from the 2022 governorship election, the 2023 general election, that would be directly applied this time?
Yes. One of the things my learned senior there mentioned about the palpable fears, that usually envelope the mind and psychic of voters at the polling unit. Some of them, they are there, with their heart in their pocket. And once they hear the gunshot or any sporadic attack, they disappear from the polling unit. Some of these, we experienced them in the previous election. But one thing that is going to be very unique in this our engagement, the usual tradition is that you bring the parties together, the chairmen of the political parties. No, what we are doing, once we see the names of the candidate, we want to make effort and bring those candidates to the stakeholders. Let them talk to their members, to their loyalists, to their followers, that this election that is coming is for peace. And I think with that, it will change the narrative to a large extent. However, if after we have done it, because at that program, all the representatives of security agencies will be there. If after that engagement, somebody now believes that it's bigger than the state, such non-state actors definitely shall be handled appropriately, and the law will take its course on such individuals.
All right, I'll come back to you. Mr. Daniel, let's talk about election funding. 873 billion naira is a significant figure. Can Nigeria sustain this rising cost of elections every 4 years?
Thank you so much. I think I've spoken about that on your program in the past. The cost of managing or organizing elections in Nigeria is too high.
It's too high.
It's too high. I remember when, was it Jega at that time, was calling for more funds and all that when he was chairman of INEC. And then this is apart from what the candidates themselves will spend. This is also apart from what the parties, the political parties, will spend. If you put it together, you are talking trillions of naira. Is there no way we can make these elections a bit seamless? I mean, as a lawyer, we voted from the comfort of our homes. If you have your ATM card, you can withdraw money from any ATM machine. Can't that, I'm not an IT or expert, but can't that give us some kind of clue that we can organize this election at less amount, with less controversies,
is it
violence.
realistic to spend less on our election? I mean, if you consider the population of this country, if you consider every logistics that must go into that election, our population as a country, the geopolitical zones, is it realistic for us to spend less?
Well, we usually take clue from advised clients to study how they organize their affairs, to see how we can improve our own without prejudice to the peculiar circumstances we found ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, America is not bigger than Nigeria, and yet they are able to organize the election. I don't know if it's as expensive as this, but they have advanced in technology. Anyway, we can't compare them to Nigeria. But I think there could be a seamless way. But don't forget that the elections, the general elections in Nigeria, that is still on record, the fairest, the freest, the best, is still the 1993 election. And it was an open ballot system. I think Professor Humphrey Nwosu also was the chairman of INEC then. And then there was a winner, clear cut. We didn't spend much money. We didn't need to start thinking of transmitting, or as you count your agent, every agent signs, results are announced. So we should look for a cheaper way. Something that, you know, when we started doing cashless, it reduced criminal activities. At least people will no longer say they are stopping your vehicle to steal large cash from you. So we should look for a way to improve on this. Otherwise, I mean, look at the country, you know. Generally, we know that we are still grappling with a lot of issues economically. So we need all the funds we can save. I think INEC should think of I am very sure if you put together, Nigerians, we have experts. We have people who are gurus in IT. They are leading in other advanced countries. I'm very sure we can come up with something that will reduce violence, that will reduce the cost of organizing this election, that will reduce the money the parties, the candidates themselves will spend, and the money we spend. A lot of people are waiting to be multimillionaires during elections. A lot.
I mean, you hear INEC chairman say, oh, we're doing everything possible to ensure that Nigerians trust the system. Nigerians trust the electoral umpire. To what extent do you think INEC has, you know, invested in making sure that Nigerians trust the system this time? And what level of transparency should Nigerians be expecting from the electoral umpire ahead of the 2027 election?
Well, INEC, look at the budget, you see provision for orientation and aggressive publicity. But it is the candidate and the parties that actually handle this. You understand?
Dr.
Yes.
Dr. is here tonight to
No, I'm saying it. It is actually the parties. The INEC chairman, when he was announcing the timetable, he advised the parties to go and mobilize people to go and register or revalidate their registration, card and all that. He was talking to the candidates, so it is not a secret. But go to their budget; they have huge provisions for that to orientate. Look at the way market women adjusted to COVID-19. No, Ebola. What do you call it? Ebola? What do you call that sickness?
COVID-19. Yeah.
No. Before COVID-19, there is
Ebola.
Ebola. Okay. You see the way we adjusted to it. You know, orientation at the marketplaces. People quickly adjusted to it. So Nigerians, particularly the population that are, that not that educated, market men, market women, they can key into the system if you give them the right orientation. But what we have is a jamboree kind of orientation. You come and play music, you share money and sort, and say people go and vote. That's not the kind of orientation you should give into the electorate. The orientation the market woman have, the idea the market woman have is, how much are they bringing? That is not the kind of, INEC should give orientation. You're leaving it to the parties, the candidate to do. They are going to tell them, go and register to vote for me, I will give you this. That's not the kind of orientation that the electorate should be given.
Let's hear from Dr. Abuke. Dr. Abuke, why is it true that there's a budget for aggressive awareness orientation, but INEC doesn't spend according to the budget? Also, why are we spending so much for elections every 4 years?
No, that is not correct, that INEC leave it for political parties. I think we are mixing two things together. There is Directorate of Voter Education and publicity, gender, and all of that. Voter education is different from political party talking to their loyalists. Voter education, you are trying to rejig, or you are trying to re-educate people from the usual tendency to want to collect money before you vote. You are re-educating people from the tendency to want to unleash terror on innocent voters. You are educating people on the need to go and register as at when necessary, and to also discourage them from moving away from registration point if you are underage. You know, voter education to convince people against the narrative that the vote does not count. These are the things that INEC will do all the time. We do it with a view to addressing the minds of the electorate. And it is not just, you know, one class of the society that we talk to. Here in Osun State, I want to give you an example. The practical demonstration of what INEC mandate is all about, as reflected across board. We have gone to religious centers in Osun State. I have been to Deeper Life churches. I have been to religious center, the Muslims, NASFAT. We went to their worship centers to talk to them shortly after the service. And they waited and listened to the message of INEC. Not only that, we have been to marketplaces. We mobilized the market people. We talked to them on the need for proper understanding of electioneering process, discouraging them from collecting money, and so on. Even the youth, we engage the youth. So this is the kind of mandate INEC is having. It's different from the one my learned senior is talking about. Even political parties, to me, as far as I'm concerned, they are not even doing it. Go to political campaigns. Go and see the jamboree he mentioned. That is what you will see. When I was in a rec at a particular state, he took my initiative to, to advise the political parties that when you open your campaign and people are there, please allow 10, 15 minutes to educate your members or followers or loyalists
they don't do that.
on how to vote. Do you know that?
You agree that they don't do that?
At that campaign ground, there were people that could not identify. I stood beside somebody in 2019, and I showed him all the political parties. I said, "Which party do you belong?" He mentioned, "Oh yeah, show me the logo of the party." He went to show me another logo of another party. That is to tell you that even political parties are not doing enough. But INEC, we have a food directorate. At state level, we have department for voter education. So voter education requires a lot of budget. We have INEC half hour on certain national TV. These are the things that INEC do all the time. And it's a statutory responsibility of the commission.
All right, Dr. Agboke. So if you've just justified why we need to spend so much to elect our leaders every 4 years, so if the National Assembly reduces this proposed budget, what aspects of the election could be affected?
No, we won't say it will affect any. In Yoruba, they will say, you cut your clothes. Is it according to your size now? So whatever we are given, according to your clothes, So whatever we are given, INEC has a way of going back to the drawing board. And that will be for. But where it's going to affect fundamentally, I know the leadership of the commission, we have to go back to make proper case.
All right, Dr. Agboke, let's take a break, gentlemen, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Thank you very much for staying with us. Our focus tonight, INEC releases 2027 election timetable, proposes 873 billion naira for 2027 general election. And something different this time. INEC is now to involve EFCC, ICPC to track vote buying. I've been speaking with Dr. Mutiu Agboke, INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Osun State. Also in the studio with me is Tony Daniel, a lawyer and political affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thank you very much for staying with me on the program. Let me come back to you, Mr. Daniel. Yes. Let's look at the amendment to the Electoral Act 2022, which you wanted to talk about earlier. Do you see this approval of e-transmission with manual backup as a genuine reform or some political compromise that further weakens our electoral integrity?
You're talking about the
Electoral Act amendment.
Yes. You know, we all looking at, or there is this loud opinion on some aspects of this amendment, which is mandatory transmission of results within record time.
Real time.
Record time. And some senators came out and were trying to say this is the position we took, contrary to what you must have read. But you see, within record time is subjective.
Is it realistic? And
mandatory transmission is okay. You must transmit. And don't forget that the Electoral Act is trying to work within the principles of the provision of the Constitution. Because if there is a contradiction of any provision of the Electoral Act against the provision of the Constitution, naturally, the provision of the Constitution supersedes to the extent of the contradiction. What Nigeria should be asking for is to see a tremendous generic improvement in subsequent elections. The timeline
of 2031?
There's one coming. Okay. So every subsequent election, there should be an improvement. So instead of running to the National Assembly every time to seek an amendment, there should be an omnibus provision in the Electoral Act that will allow INEC, without prejudice to loud opinion, to general opinion, to improve by itself.
Okay.
INEC, we are institutionalizing the management of elections. So INEC should involve. If you look at the first previous management of elections by previous electoral bodies, there is gradual improvement. But they have not been able to address this apathy of voters. I appreciate what the Commission...
Can the Constitution address that?
Sorry?
Can the amendment to the Electoral Act amend that in any way? Address that, rather? Voter apathy?
Voters' apathy. No. It is this state orientation, education. Don't forget we have a National Orientation Agency. Professor Ghana, appointed by Babangida those days, headed that National Orientation Agency. Their work is to educate masses generally. Then INEC has their own directorate of education and orientation. But like I said, I sympathize with the commissioner.
Because the commission cannot do it alone.
Yes, the commissioner cannot do it alone, but let's see what the commission is doing.
Okay.
With due respect to my friend, have you seen any big billboard by INEC educating masses? Have you seen a regular program? Well, I have not seen.
He says there's a program on television.
He said there's a program. I have not seen.
Okay.
Has any person you met in the market inform you that, oh, INEC, they were here yesterday to come and educate us? The meaning of the directorate, I already know. That's what my friend was saying. We do this, we do that. That is the meaning. That's what you are supposed to do. Are you doing them? The question is, are you doing them? Even if you are doing them, are you doing them?
Is it enough?
Enough.
Okay.
You understand? You see, what every person is used to, like I said before, is waiting, but not people like us. People like Mac, they are the ones that vote. Because this, voters' prejudice is affecting those who are enlightened. You stay there, you criticize the government. You don't contribute to making the government. But when the government is constituted, you start criticizing the administrators of the government. You don't come out to vote. You don't make out time to educate persons. Even though we know that we have government agencies that are supposed to be doing that. What are you doing yourself?
Okay.
To help. Everybody will just sit down. I tell you something, when we had Bender State, I was coordinator student SDP. We took the data of those that voted in previous elections. And we discovered that academic staff were not voting. Lecturers, they were not voting. But Oyegun, because shortly after that, they split Bender State into Edo and Delta. Chief Oyegun, I don't know if you remember, I was the young man that was coordinator student then. Okay. We had to get, if you look at his election, he got more votes from higher institutions. You understand?
Invested.
They got, and I was, yes, he got more votes from higher institutions. So, how have you educated these people? We had to go talk to them. You understand? But what we have now is a candidate going to campaign. And he used the process to encourage people to register. If you have not registered, revalidate. If you have not done that, he used the opportunity to say, vote for me. This is my emblem. He used the opportunity to tell them, this is how you vote. All right. You understand me?
I get that.
It is the candidate that are doing that more.
All right, Dr. Agboke, let me come to you. You know, there are allegations that underage persons were registered in Oshogbo, hope I'm correct, in Governor Adeleke's constituency. Please react to that. How true is it?
No, before I come to that, I still want my learned senior to go and make effort to verify the last statement. It's not correct that INEC is not doing anything. Of course, he said he's not aware. If you are not aware, it will be an excuse. But if you try to find out, you will know what we are doing. That we do not put up a billboard. No. We are not National Orientation Agency. We are to educate people. We are to educate people on election. So that is just the point. Now, to your issue of underage or not underage, there was no incident of underage in whatever manner. Some students were brought to one of our local governments with the intention to register them. We resisted it, and we did not allow them to do that. It generated a lot of heated argument, and eventually they took them away. Now, when somebody who was standing at a close range took the picture of this student, the person now posted it on social media. So when I saw it, I now said, my management team should visit the secondary school. The secondary school apologized that they did not even know how the students were mobilized from school, blah, blah, blah. So eventually, we want them to ensure that such did not happen. If they do, all the children will be packed and be taken to police headquarters. So in terms of registration of underage, it did not happen in Osun State.
Okay, so you're categorically saying that no underage voter is currently on the Osun register?
No, it's not. It's not.
All right, let me ask you about high-risk centers in Osun State. How many polling units in Osun are considered high-risk, and what additional safeguards are in place?
Okay, what we do normally, we have interagency consultative committee on election securities.
Okay.
At intervals, we hold these meetings. And of course, there are usually regular threat analysis of those locations. So the security, they have taken note of them. We are reviewing them with a view to knowing whether what we observed last month remained the same or it has changed. So it's a continuous process. Very soon now, as the campaign is drawing closer, we are going to have regular meetings of the ICE. So the security, agencies, they are on top of that. And I can assure you that it will be taken care of.
All right, then. Let me come back to the studio, Mr. Daniel, because we'll go back to the Electoral Act amendments. Electronic voter IDs are seen by many as a way of modernizing and speeding up voter verification. But here, the Senate is saying it must just be the PVCs. Are you impressed?
No.
Is that a setback for us? I mean, if we're talking about technology, is that a setback for us?
Well, you see, you must come up with a system, even though you can't get 100% acceptance, reasonable acceptance among the people you want to govern, among the people you want to participate in the electoral system. let it be acceptable. You know, those speaking out are those that are enlightened, those who have analytical minds, who can read in between the lines. But people who are market women rely on those of us who will come and say, yes, this thing is okay, it's not okay. And when they hear you talk at fora and you criticize the system, they are feeling bad. Once you are seen commending the system, and you know, we have people who are paid to commend the system, even when the system is not working. But the truth is that we can see through the smoke screen. It's not a good one. There should be an improvement. Like I said, in every subsequent election, let every subsequent election be an improvement on the previous one. You know, we have not addressed palpable fear among electorate. We have not addressed integrity of transmitted result. We need to not only address the arrival of voting materials. I must say this, realistically, INEC is trying. This timeline is not even enough. Look at when you are supposed to conduct, you know, INEC supervises primaries. Post-primary activities, you must submit those you have successfully elected or nominated. You have a time, within this timeline, it's not enough. You have a time to also challenge the result. You know, you have a time to, by-elections have its own provisions in the Act and in the Constitution. So I want to sympathize with INEC because there is hardly time for them to work. But that is the job they have chosen. They have to do it. But the thing, within the constraint of time, they should be able to come up with something that will be acceptable, that we command some integrity. And then if I have the information, for instance, because I heard from the chairman that he sent 4 key points to the National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Amendment. I have not taken time to read these 4 points. If the National Assembly have refused to take these 4 points, or they are tampering with it, and these 4 points are points that we, if accepted and taken, will help the integrity of the elections, then we can now push our blame to the National Assembly. You understand? Because what most of them are thinking of, with due respect to them, is they are short-sighted. They are looking at, I am here today, anything I do should be able to protect my interests. No, we have to be introspective. We are looking at the future. What will shape us generally? Not you. You will soon go. We hold a natural debt to nature, which is death. We pray for long life, but it will come when it will come. So you should think of the children, think of grandchildren, think of those that will take over from us, not just your position at the moment.
Okay. Dr. Agoke, let me take it up from where Mr. Daniel stopped, which is this issue of trust. Because also when you consider the fact that public skepticism towards the electoral umpire is rooted in decades of disputed elections, the allegations of manipulation, ultimately inconsistent enforcement of rules. Even when there are reforms, even when these reforms are introduced, some of these past experiences have shaped today's perception of the electoral umpire. We can see, we can feel the challenge with trusting the system. So what concrete steps is INEC taking to rebuild or strengthen public trust?
You see, no matter what we desire for ourselves, must be homegrown by ourselves. In other words, spirit cannot come and do what we want to enjoy. An American person cannot do it for us better. In other words, our orientation must be a resolve that we want to better the system. If we resolve, as an INEC official, if you do the right thing, as a security agency person, as civil society organization, as politicians, as political parties, as media, if all of us come together and we face the same direction, my sister will achieve the result. But unfortunately, what we experience on election day is a whole lot of diverse interests, people that you expect to protect the process, circumventing the process. So we should all be determined to say that we want to do the right thing and we want to ensure that we stand by the law. Let me tell you, you talk about the issue of public trust in relation to disputing election result. If you know that your election is intentionally manipulated against you, nobody can force you to take to faith and accept defeat. And that is
PWD is one of the largest marginalized groups in the country. We've always struggled with making them comfortable on election day. What measures are in place to ensure accessibility for persons with disabilities as we look forward to Osun governorship election?
Yes, you see, in the history of election in Nigeria, Osun State is the only state that has the largest number of people with disability. And when you see them, by record, Osun State election has always made provision for all these class of individuals. Talk of, magnifying glasses, brave ballot papers, all the items they need to make it easy for them to vote and participate in the process. So accessibility, and don't forget in INEC, inclusivity is one of the cardinal, policy of the commission. We have a very good program policy for them that allow them to be included. So in Osun State, it's not going to be an exception this year. We are going to include them. We have been engaging them. Very soon, I'm going to invite them so that we can chart a way further on how we can better the arrangement.
All right, let me come back to Mr. Daniel.
People with disabilities.
No, INEC has to go to them.
INEC has to go to them.
Let me ask you, because you made reference, you made a statement, that people expected to protect the system are since circumventing the process. And that's him speaking to how pervasive vote trading is in this country. But the Senate has pushed out, the Senate thinks that a 2-year jail term does reflect the gravity of the offense. Are you part of those who see that the rejection of a tougher stance indicates that vote trading is not taken seriously in this country?
Vote trading is not taken seriously. People see it. 2 years, for instance, it makes it look like a misdemeanor.
But they increased the fine from 2 million to 5 million. Well,
if you cannot pay that, the person, if he's found guilty, I have not heard of those that have been successfully prosecuted yet, but I know that they will attempt to prosecute some, even by the EFCC. This is not the first time they're bringing in EFCC. EFCC has only been part of the electoral process. Police, DSS, even sometimes military. And then the unauthorized mafias, hoodlums, that also come there to cause problem. So if INEC arrives at voting unit on time, because the last time you will come after your biometric has been taken, you wait. But the last election, your biometric will be taken and you vote immediately. You see, there was an improvement. And then in the polling unit where I voted, we have completed voting when some hoodlums just came. They have even finished counting in Edo State, in South Ibi. They have finished counting when some hoodlums came. The polling unit is one policeman that will be there. Military vehicle will be moving from one polling unit to the other. They came and removed the ballot boxes, but it has already been counted and we know the result. There was pandemonium at the center, but I went to the place identified for collation and I talked about it. I don't know, I think they made some amendment to that. They used the result because witnesses came out to say, we were here.
So 2 million to 5 million, is that dissuasive enough?
Well, 2 million to 5 million is also an improvement. It's an improvement. But executing that law is more important.
Are you for National Offences Commission? Establishment of National Offences Commission?
We have enough agency.
Okay. Implementation is a challenge.
The problem is implementation.
Right. Sadly, we're out of time. But Dr. Doke, quickly. So in clear terms, what is vote trading? So Nigerians would know what exactly we're dealing with. And INEC, EFCC, ICPC, what should Nigerians expect differently this time?
You see, on election day, when you carry the Ghana must go, you put money inside it. When you put money in a corner and you are distributing it, when you collect people's PVC and you are exchanging it with money, if you are caught on that day, I'm happy. My chairman has spoken. Is INEC in Nigeria. On that day, collaboration exists between ICPC, EFCC, and other paramilitary agency. They will be, strategically stationed and ensure that they will lay anybody that want to be funny on that day.
But in recent times, Dr. Adoke, vote buying does not happen on election day. It happens day before.
No, it's correct. Some keep money. Okay. I've been embarrassed now. The last time I voted, somebody came. Whose party did you vote for?
But what about the ones that happened before election?
No, a lot happened before elections.
Gentlemen, sadly we're out of time, but I'm sure this is a conversation we must continue some other time. Thank you so much for joining me on the program tonight. Lawyer, political affairs analyst, Mr. Tony Daniel. Thank you so much for your contribution. Osho Rek, thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you, my learned friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please have a great evening. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumokedebu using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone, and have a great weekend.